Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, it's those subtle arts that really bring things over the top, and if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean that you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, this audio-only experience, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals and pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and a conversational fashion. And you know, if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to assume that you do, because let's face it, you're listening right now. And if you are, please keep listening and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, give us a 5-star rating in your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere, places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel, so you can give us a like and subscribe there as well. We'd absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, Letterboxd, the TikTok, the Blue Sky, the Threads, and other places. There's too many, but we're in the seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest in the world of film, television, basically the movie image at large, because guess what? If we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it all that much more than when you read about it and listen about it. So please come on by, because every visit counts. Ladies and gentlemen, on this, ladies and gentlemen, on this very special episode, we're going to explore the subtle power of editing and its use in TV and film, specifically on the show Love Story, the John F. Kennedy Jr. Carolyn Bessette story, which is it's on FX. Well, it was on FX, but it's on Hulu and Disney Plus now. If you were looking to catch up with it, and it's a gorgeous show. I mean, as you would expect from Ryan Murphy, who does all these sort of things. But we looked at a very specific episode where John and Carolyn have a fight, but they have it in Central Park, and it's really unique because in watching it, we got this sense of intimacy as they go through this fight and this confrontation, but also distance because we're having to see it through the lens of the paparazzi who are stationed very, very far away. And it was really, really well done. We had the unique pleasure sitting down with editor Franzis Muller to talk about sort of the intricacies of crafting the scene for this episode, which really is a linchpin for the entire run of the show. If you've seen it, you'll know. But it was really a fantastic piece of work, and this is Emmy consideration season, so we like highlighting fantastic pieces of work. But Francis really did give us some insight on sort of the art of editing, which, as a film fan, as a film appreciator, I always love talking to these people who work behind the scenes and make our favorite shows and movies come to life. But if you haven't already, sign up for Hulu, sign up for Disney Plus if you're in Canada. Watch Love Story, the John F. Kennedy Jr. Carolyn Bessette story. But first, enjoy our talk with editor Franzis Muller, because between you and me, it's a pretty darn good one. Well, first off, I mean, just thank you so much for the time, and I mean, congrats
Thank you.
on your work on Love Story.
Yes. Thank
Now,
you.
I mean, obviously, you did sort of a very sort of big episode, just sort of in the arc of the story, and I mean, I'm kind of curious when you get hired onto a job like this. I mean, particularly when it's like you're doing like one episode or two episodes, you're not necessarily being involved in the whole thing. How do they bring you in? I guess is maybe the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, for the show, it was a little different than how it would normally go because the editor would come in around pre-production,
Right.
so we're going at the same time as production so we can keep up with camera. But at this one, yeah, I came in halfway through the process, so it was a little strange. The good thing is I've worked in the Ryan Murphy cam for a couple of years now,
Right.
so I know the way that their workflow goes. So it's a really natural transition, jumping into the episode. Plus, it was an episode that I co-edited with Adam Penn, who edited the first episode, edited the pilot, and set the tone for everybody. And he also worked on the show as a producer. So it's just easy communication between the two of us. We've known each other for a while. And yeah, we just hit the ground running. What's missing? What needs to get done? Okay, let's go. And then we just started putting the episode together.
Love it. Now, I mean, obviously, like I said, this is a big episode. It's sort of a
Yeah.
spin for the series, but especially for these two characters. I mean, the whole arc of the show is just sort of the reality that they're never alone. There's always someone around. Like they never kind of get any peace and
Right.
quiet. And I mean, I'm kind of curious because obviously, as an editor, you're working with what's sort of on the camera and what's been shot, but there is also sort of this extra air of them not being alone. Like I don't want to say
Hmm.
menace, but it's just like there's no, like I said, there's no peace. How do you
Yeah.
try to sort of, I don't want to say create, but like amplify that kind of sort of aura, especially, during this linchpin moment when they're having this fight?
Yeah. Well, I think the beauty of episode five is that it you can treat it a bit like a turning point in the
Mm.
story, in the sense of this is how the paparazzi are going to start to be even more involved in the story of these two people, and then also the family influence and how those two, the pressure of those two takes a toll on their relationship, and you see how it develops in the next couple of episodes. But yeah, episode five is sort of the beginning of here we go. Here's that threat. I think you could call it a threat in a way. It's true. I mean, they even the fight in the park, that is a very intimate scene between these two characters, becomes a spectacle the moment that you introduce a paparazzi,
Yeah.
and we have the cameras clicking. So it's there isn't really a moment of peace for them too, which is really interesting. It was something that we played back and forth. How much of the paparazzi do we hear? How much of the actual shot do we see? So it was about finding the balance between, we need to make sure that the intimacy of this fight is preserved, and still start hinting at the audience, hey, there's this pressure that's going to develop and it's going to start in this episode, and you have to be aware of, because it's going to affect the relationship. It's going to take a toll in this relationship when you see it in the next couple of episodes.
I'm
It was a
curious.
fun
Yeah.
challenge.
I can imagine because it's one of those things where shows will always have a certain degree of rhythm. And I mean, I've got to
Yeah.
imagine, especially when you're being dropped in the middle like this, you kind of have to know what's happened before and also kind of know where it's going. But at the same time, because this episode is so unique, it's almost like you're dropped in there, like to you specifically, to sort of create this disruption and to sort of
Mhm.
give us a different rhythm going forward. Like, how do you have to, like, how conscious of do you have to be of how things have happened and how things are going to happen, especially on a story like this?
Oh, I think you have to be very aware. I mean, the first thing that I did when I jumped on the project was read the scripts,
Yeah.
especially of the episodes that came before. I looked at the pilot that Adam had cut, so it gave me an idea first of the flow that we were going, the sort of tone of the show. Um, so I had, a structure to follow,
Yeah.
that Adam had beautifully created, and then once I knew, okay, this is episode five, this is what we need to do, I took a look at the episodes that came after. Not because there's things that I have to hint in this episode, but just have to be aware of, this is where we're gonna go. Emotionally, the arc that's gonna go later is this one. So we've got to make sure that there's a structure there, you know. But yeah, it's strange when you're jumping in the middle of it. It's just a little crazy. You're jumping in the middle of it. Here you go. There's dailies, there's scenes. Go ahead and cut them. Um, but I think it all just came down to good communication between Adam and myself and the rest of the team.
Would you say
Just
that's
and
vital?
trust.
Yeah. Like, would you say that's vital? Like, no matter what the project? Because I mean, I mean, I always think back to the old joke of Alfred Hitchcock only shooted what he needed, so his editor wouldn't screw it up. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's like I
Yeah.
kind of wonder sort of the balance of sort of allowing your sort of creative flow to go along with theirs. Like, how do you guys kind of marry up?
Well, I think communication is key. Not just between like in this episode with Adam and myself, but with the editor and the assistant editor,
Right.
because the assistant editor is essential in creating this story just as much as we are. But then also communicating with our director, Crystal Robertson, who directed this episode, was just brilliant and so open to collaboration. We were able to try different things in the director's cut, and then create, a piece that worked really well. That then once we moved on to the Ryan's cut and producer's cut and studio cut, we just had a good structure there. But I mean, if even if I had started from the beginning on the episode, communicating with set is always very important when you're trying
Right.
to when you're keeping up with camera in the event that there's something, you know, I really need the shot. Please, can you make sure that you shoot it? If something doesn't get done, that kind of thing. So we're always in touch with the people on set. Because the
But
last thing you want is you get to the edit, you're working with a director, you realize something was missing, and nobody spoke up
yeah,
about,
no one
oh,
wants to
this,
call for pickups, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, but sometimes you need it, sometimes important it's really important to do that.
Well, for sure, for sure. And I mean, I'm curious, and I mean, this might be a dumb question, but I mean, I'm genuinely curious about this. Does the sort of workflow or sort of the rhythm of how you have to work change from television to, say, sort of a movie or anything else? Or is it just a question of you have to think of like, okay, I've got a story and I'm going to tell it in like X amount of minutes?
Um, well, I think the biggest difference that I've found is more the time that you have to do the two things.
Right,
We move way faster in episodic,
right,
way faster. And features tend to go a lot longer. And you go through the process of the audience testing, and you're going through a lot of different versions.
right,
We don't really have that in TV. The thing that I really enjoy about it is that then the choices that you're making when you're cutting an episode, you have to be really sure of those because you don't have a lot of time.
right,
So it makes you really aware of every cut that you're making. And it becomes more, at least to me, it's become more of a gut feeling. If this doesn't feel right, then I have to go back and why isn't it feeling right? I have to go back and look at the material until I'm really comfortable and then can move on because I just don't have that time. You
No,
just
and I
have
mean,
to
I've got to
keep moving
imagine just
forward.
from a professional development standpoint, that's got to be encouraging just to be able to sort of develop those muscles, be able to say, "No, this is right. We're going with this," rather than sort of
Yeah.
having that time to doubt yourself.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Yeah, you just have to be comfortable with it. And each editor develops their own way of working. Like I have a very specific way of working that I know doesn't work for other people, but it's worked for me. So I just go on with that one. It's worked for me over the past couple of years, so it's
Love
gonna
it,
keep
love
going
it.
that way.
No, I mean, I guess here's the loaded question. Like, ultimately, like, what got your foot in the door? What made you want to sort of be an editor in this business? Like, was it something else? Then you got to this. Like, what was sort of I guess, the origin story of Francis to sort of get involved in the TV business?
Ooh, origin story. Oh my goodness. Well, I've been wanting to be an editor for a long time since I was a really young kid. Um, I just fell in love with movies growing up. I feel like everybody has that same answer that works in this industry. Um, I I knew from a young age that I wanted to go into the world of movies. Didn't really know specifically what department, but I knew I wanted to be involved in the filmmaking process. And it didn't really become quite clear until I took a TV class in high school, and we had to do everything. You had to film it and you had to edit it and you just had to write the sketches. And editing was just a part that spoke to me the most. Maybe because I'm obsessed with putting pieces together, puzzles together, build Legos, that kind of thing. That's my thing.
Love it.
So then once that became really clear, then I just went all out. I did my undergrad in filmmaking and my master's in editing, and that's been the focus since the beginning.
Fantastic.
So you just went that way.
Now, I'm curious, because I mean, people tend to not know, and I'm wondering if you can describe sort of the creative process on your end, because I mean, many people think, they'll read a script, it's like, oh, edit here, cut there, cut there, cut there, but it's like, no, it's about you interpreting what those cuts are supposed to mean. And I mean, for you,
Hmm.
I'm guessing, like, what is sort of how do you encapsulate the art of editing?
Oh, how do I encapsulate it? Well, I think for me, the beauty of editing is being able to take a character through an emotional journey that's going to resonate with the audience. And whether that's, happy, sad, scared, doesn't matter. I like the idea that I have the control over taking a character through an emotional arc.
Yeah.
So yes, I have the base, the start of the script, but there's so many options and possibilities that you have in the edit that makes it really attractive, you know. So it's the ability to just play with people's emotions in a
Right,
way,
right, 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 right.
um, and take the audience in a journey. And hopefully, once you get to the end of an episode, whatever it is, episode, movie, you've gone through a journey. The audience has gone through the journey with the character, and they've it's resonated to them with them in a way. That's the ultimate goal. But
And I mean,
it's just
yeah.
fun.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I don't know. It's that was it. It's just a fun
Well,
thing
and I
to
mean,
be a part of.
I've got to imagine it's a great ride because on one end, like you really are so involved in crafting sort of this emotional journey and telling these stories, but also at the same time, I'm kind of curious, are there any sort of creative payoffs or moments almost on the flip side when you can make something that audiences won't see or like a cut that audiences won't understand, but be like, oh fuck, that looked good. No one's gonna know we did an edit there.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the right answer should be no, that I just enjoy that people enjoy, the
Right,
episode,
right,
right? The real answer is uh, yes, if I managed to get a sneaky cut in there that nobody noticed and they got to the end and they enjoyed it, the best thing ever. It's
Love it.
the best experience. But yes, I guess I should say. No, it's just the experience, and I hope they enjoy the experience and they'll watch the film and the episode, and it was all good. But no, I feel like every editor, there's got to be something that you manage to sneak in that if nobody notices, the best reward,
Love that.
I think.
Love that. And I mean, again, just in watching this episode, it's really one of those things where, at least as a film fan, as a TV person who's watched far too many things over the course of his life, I appreciated the art of what you were doing. And I mean, just to put a bow on this, I'm curious for you, what was the first TV show or movie where you could sort of appreciate the art of the editor?
Jurassic Park
Nice.
that I can
Okay.
remember. Yeah. I have two films that I remember from growing up that were, I think, the ones that told me, oh, you must go in this direction. Fantasia and Jurassic Park.
Nice.
But Jurassic Park, I think, yeah, I mean, just the magic that you have that whole team had to do for us to be terrified of an animal that doesn't exist
Yeah.
right now. That is just, movie magic. That's just beautiful. So yeah, I would have to say Jurassic Park is probably the film that made me go light bulb moment.
Well, it is
There's
the film that
something
made us
here.
hold on to our butts, and we did, and that's. But I mean, that's the right answer for sure. But I
Yeah.
mean, Francis, I mean, just thank you for the time and thank you for the insight on what you do.
Thank you.
And congrats on the episode.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the time.
You're very welcome. All right, bye.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.